up in cell biology. So basically today's video will be mainly discussing about the important differences between the nuclear DNA and the mitochondrial DNA. So starting with, so this is very important in general pathology because you need to have a very thorough insight about what are the differences between the nuclear DNA and the mitochondrial DNA, and particularly this forms the very important part of the molecular cell biology in health and aging. So students and viewers, beginning with, when we look at the location, so in certain aspects, in certain regards, we'll be discussing about the differences. And when we look at, so the first important point of differentiation, that is discussing upon the feature. So the location, when we look at, the nuclear DNA is located in the nucleus, whereas the mitochondrial DNA, it is located in the mitochondria. So obviously this point is very quite clear. Just we know that the nuclear DNA, the location, the site will be nucleus, whereas the mitochondrial DNA, it is located in the mitochondria. Now when we look at the membrane, so in the case of nuclear DNA, so this DNA is contained within a membrane, that is the membrane will be present, but in case of a mitochondrial DNA, the membrane will be absent. Now when we look at the structure of nuclear DNA, so the nuclear DNA is mostly having a double-stranded structure, and that too it is linear. But do remember, very importantly, this mitochondrial DNA, it is also double-stranded, but this double-stranded structure, it is circular, whereas the nuclear DNA, it is double-stranded, but it is having a linear structure. Now, moving on to the next important point of differentiation, that is the number of copies. So, since the nuclear DNA cells are diploid, so the nuclear DNA is containing 2 copies of the DNA per cell, but the mitochondrial DNA is containing about 100 to 1000 copies per cell. Now, when we look at the genome size, so genome is actually the haploid set of chromosomes. So when we look at the genome of the nuclear DNA, so it is containing about 20,500 genes, and there is approximately 3 billion base pairs. But when we look at the mitochondrial DNA, it is containing about 37 genes, with the base pairs approximately 16,000 base pairs are present. Now, when we look at the inheritance, from inheritance perspective, so the nuclear DNA, it is derived equally from both the parents. This is very important. In general pathology, this point needs to be emphasized, that when we look at the inheritance of the nuclear DNA, so it is equally inherited from both the parents, and disease may be inherited from both the parents if it is inherited from the nuclear DNA. But in case of a mitochondrial DNA, it is inherited from the mother. So maternal M for mitochondria, and the inheritance of this mitochondrial DNA, it is inherited from the mother. So M of the mitochondria, inheritance is from the mother. Then this way you can remember. So the mitochondrial DNA is always inherited from the mother, and the diseases what are inherited through the mitochondrial DNA, it is diseases are inherited maternally. Now moving on to the next important point of differentiation, that as you can see, the translation pattern. So you must have seen that DNA is having the, whenever from a DNA a particular mRNA is produced, all right, from DNA a particular mRNA is produced, and from mRNA a particular protein synthesis is going to take place. So when we look at the translation pattern, so the formation of the protein from the mRNA, this process is called as translation. So when we look at the translation process, so during the, whenever any code, any protein is being formed, so it is having a particular codon. Codons are there, and a particular set of codons is going to code for a specific amino acid. So in the translation pattern, when the protein synthesis is going to take place from the mRNA to the protein, so it follows the universal codon pattern if it is the nuclear DNA. But when we look at the mitochondrial DNA, it does not follow the universal codon pattern. So you must have read in class 12 biology or something that a particular codon is going to code for a specific amino acid. So during the translation process, when the mRNA is going to translate to form a particular type of a protein, so in the nuclear DNA, it is going to follow the universal codon pattern, that a particular set of codons, that is AUG, GUG, CUC, something, these types of codon, the universal codon pattern is followed in case of a nuclear DNA, but in case of a mitochondrial DNA, it does not follow the universal codon pattern. And last but not the least, when we look at the transcription, so the formation of mRNA from DNA, the process that is called as transcription, and the formation from mRNA, this process is called as translation. This is the model from DNA, the formation of mRNA, the messenger RNA, what is being formed, this process is called as transcription. And from mRNA, when protein synthesis is going to take place, the process is called as translation. So the transcription pattern in nuclear DNA, it is monocistronic. So it is called as a monocistronic pattern, that it is going to code for a single protein. But in case of a mitochondrial DNA, it is polycistronic. So this polycistronic means that it is going to code for many proteins. So students and viewers, this was a very short discussion where I have given the differences between the important differences between nuclear DNA and the mitochondrial DNA. And in the general pathology, you need to have a thorough understanding, a thorough concept of yours is a mandatory, just to know what are the important differences between nuclear DNA and the mitochondrial DNA. So the striking, distinguishing, very important fact, what I need to emphasize over here, that nuclear DNA, it is equally derived from both the parents, and the diseases are inherited from both the parents. But I would like to emphasize that is the mitochondrial DNA, the M of the mitochondria is, you can relate to this, that it is inherited from the mother. So the mitochondrial DNA is always inherited from the mother, and the diseases are inherited maternally. So students and viewers, this was a very short discussion where I've given you the differences, the comparison between the nuclear DNA and the mitochondrial DNA. If you still have any queries or comments, you're most welcome to comment me in the comment section. And there are certain topics what you want from me in pathology, you are most welcome to comment me in the comment section and let me know. I will certainly take up those topics for you. So if you like this video, give this video a thumbs up, and students and viewers who are new to my channel, who haven't subscribed, subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you can be further updated for my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.